In the Klishchiivka region, Ukrainian soldiers are advancing and driving the Russians out of the high-altitude fortified areas, who updated the combat operations map and discovered that the Russians lost the fortified Hill 215.7 area. Battles are ongoing near Klishchiivka at high hills 215.7 and 233.3. The adversary is as yet sitting in the actual town, the experts said. Serhiy Cherevety, the spokesperson for Ukraine's eastern group of forces, said that heavy fighting was going on in the direction of Bakhmut in the Klishchiivka area. We are currently unable to provide any information regarding the intense fighting that is taking place there. However, I think that for them, the name Klishchiivka will be very symbolic, judging by the way the enemy channels are inciting panic, Serhiy Cherevety stated. According to Andrii Kovalev, the spokesperson for the Ukrainian General Staff, on July 5, the Defense Forces' actions were successful as a result of the offensive in the Klishchiivka area in the Bakhmut direction. Andrii Kovalev stated, "They are establishing their positions at the boundaries they have reached. They are having partial success in the Klishchiivka area." Additionally, MP Andrii Kovalev made available a video shot in the Klishchiivka region, in which members of the 24th Separate Assault Battalion, Adar, are seen capturing Russian military personnel. In the south of Bakhmut, the Adar battalion continues its successful operations. According to Andrii Kovalev, the soldiers cleared another position in the area of the Klishchiivka settlement. New recordings with troopers of the 3rd Discrete Attack Unit, who had taken new situations nearby, additionally showed up on the virtual entertainment. As recently announced, the Ukrainian military keeps on overcoming Russian powers in the space of the town of Klishchiivka in the Donetsk district. According to news reports and official Ukrainian statements, on Thursday, July 6, Ukrainian assault and airborne infantry units were consolidating around newly captured terrain across the frontline Bakhmut sector and repelling Russian attempts to regain lost ground at 2 locations. The early July successes marked continued progress on a wider front in a double-axis offensive that was initially launched by Ukraine in the Bakhmut sector in early June. Pro-Russian information platforms reported that Ukrainian troops were digging in close to the Berkivka and Yahedin villages to the northeast of Bakhmut. According to pro-Russian combat correspondent Simon Pigal's report on his Telegram channel on Thursday, a Russian combined arms assault that was meant to push back units of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, AFU, on Wednesday was unsuccessful in removing Ukrainian troops from their newly acquired positions. Ukrainian units had repelled Russian counterattacks against Berkivka and Yahedin, according to an official situation estimate released by Ukraine's Army General Staff, AGS, on July 6. Ukrainian daily progress was measured in hundreds of meters, according to social media and news reports, which were sometimes supported by video and geolocated photographs posted by soldiers themselves. The AFU progresses depended on purposeful, short-range attacks determined to cut a solitary woodline or a homestead field, reports concurred. Remarks made by Ukraine's Ground Powers Commandant, Oleksandr Syrsky, to Ukrainian public media on Wednesday, July 5, commended the 10th Mountain Detachment, a development long sent toward the northwest of Bakhmut, for as of late making strides catching detainees of war, an outcome in overcoming the Russian counterattacks. Syrsky said, assaults that succeeded in seizing a range of territory and in destroying a significant number of occupiers had been carried out by the brigade. The brigade itself uploaded battle videos on Tuesday, July 4, and Wednesday, July 5, indicating that the unit is engaged in combat in the northern Bakhmut sector. The footage showed heavily armed Ukrainian infantrymen clearing trench lines with grenades and small arms fire, supported by armored personnel carriers and observation drones. The 80th Air Assault Brigade, a seasoned AFU fighting unit southwest of Bakhmut, published a YouTube video on Wednesday, July 5, showing Russian soldiers peacefully agreeing to surrender to Ukrainian troopers advancing through a wood line. and other Russian soldiers fighting to the death from fortifications only meters away. Other images showed medics from the 10th treating soldiers for splinter and gunshot wounds. One Russian who survived claimed to be an Omsk-based reservist. According to the well-known Ukrainian military journalist Yuri Butusov, the 80th attack destroyed Ukrainian lines 300 meters in front of them. Aside from the 10th Mountain and 80th Air Assault, these two regular AFU formations have been around since before Russia invaded in February 2022. The 3rd and 5th Assault Brigades, which were recently raised, have been stationed in the Bakhmut sector for a long time and are widely regarded as key contributors to Ukraine's most successful summer offensive advances thus far. On Wednesday, July 5, the 24th Adar Battalion of the 5th Brigade posted a report on the social media channels of its unit, stating that it had continued its advance to the south of Bakhmut and had captured multiple Russian POWs. The Kyiv Post received images from soldiers from the Kyiv Raised 3rd showing their unit working on the same areas captured former Russian army fortifications. Recent territorial gains to the southwest of Bakhmut were attributed, according to unit press releases, to the 3rd. Russian military blogger Alexander Slatkov reported on his personal newsfeed on Thursday, July 6, that Ukrainian infantry backed by armored vehicles was digging in on high ground overlooking Klishchiivka to the southwest of Bakhmut, despite Russian troops still holding the town itself. The Kremlin reported losing 22,000 soldiers during the nearly 5 months of bloody frontal attacks before eventually capturing Bakhmut in May. He stated that Ukrainian artillery would threaten a significant portion of the city of Bakhmut if the AFU maintained control of the Klishchiivka high ground. On Thursday, July 6, the AFU was bringing in new troops and was not carrying out any ground attacks in the area. However, intense drone-controlled Ukrainian shell fire was fired. Russian soldiers were standing firm on their situations, Slatkov said. Pigo stated of the Donbass sector in a July 6 news article. In any case, in terms of the number of artillery strikes, the Ukrainian side enjoys the benefit around here. Ukrainian tanks are bringing a great deal of hardship, since they are terminating from stowed-away positions and hitting with direct fire. The drive out under the front a lot of smoke. They hit our situations, after which they roll back, Pigov said.